Okay, welcome back. Now, here's a trade we did in lean hogs that I showed you the example of our 1, 2, 3 trade, but I was showing you on bar chart, so I didn't have the triangles on it. So the triangles here make it more visually easy to see. So again, the reason we're calling this 1, 2, 3 is basically you get this one arrow, then you get the two arrow down, and then you get the three arrow, and that's the place to go long. Now the trick to this trade is to have the bars above the bands first, but this trade is like a lot of things. You can fudge on it if you follow it long enough. This trade will work even if it hasn't put in a buy above the bands, but I like it better with the buy above the bands. So that would be like my suggestion would be take it with the make sure it goes above the bands before you take it. And then as you get more used to seeing it and trading it, and if you want to take it later on without the move above the bands, because sometimes the market will put in a 1, 2, 3 low where it just comes up a little bit, and they'll put in the buy triangle, and then they'll put in the sell triangle, and then it'll come down here and put in the buy triangle, but it'll never move above the bands, and that is still a legitimate trade to take. So we're gonna be going over this stuff with a fine tooth comb, and we'll be looking at that too. We'll be looking at the trades with where it doesn't close above the bands, but for right now, I think just for the most I guess the word I'm looking for, the highest profit potential trade is when it does move above the bands. When you're not moving above the bands first, you're probably taking a little more risk, but I don't think it's that much more to really worry about. But I'm trying to show you the most high profit potential things first, and then we'll go into all these little off trades later on. Like here's a little off trade. We're going to be looking at different bars and different candlesticks in the future for anybody that's interested in that. And this right here was a bearish candlestick. When you see a market come up and like make a M-type top like this, like we've talked about M-type tops, and it does this reversal bar here. I mean, when I saw that bar, I said that a good chance is there's a top in lean hogs. Well, what would be a low risk way to get in this market? A break of a 3 bar low, which it broke. Here's the 3 bar low right here, so it broke it right here, and that's why it put in a red down triangle. And then you could put your stop above this bar's high, and we could have caught this move down. So this would be a really aggressive trade. This is trade for people that really want to take this kind of trade. Again, I mostly just am following our trend system in the premium newsletter, and that has been working like a charm. But there are a lot of little things, a lot of little tricks that we're going to be going over in the future that I think you'll really enjoy them. And it just, for me, it just makes the markets come more alive if you can see this stuff, even if you don't use it. Just like I'm following lean hogs here, and I'm saying, well, this is probably a top, and then you could take a 3 bar break as a trade, or you could just wait till the trend system puts in a sell signal. So a lot of it is just the enjoyment of the market. If you learn some of this stuff, that it can be really interesting, just the interesting part of the market. Now here we go again. Just 1, 2, 3 trade right there, and it was a good one. Now this one didn't fall through much to the upside. Now there's something you got to watch too, is most of them are going to be good up moves, but sometimes they're not, So that comes into where sometimes in the newsletter I'll just go by feel of the market or whatever. Like if I see this make this bar, if we had got in this trade and then I see this reversal bar here, I might bring the stop up real close to right under there. And sometimes that's not going to be the right thing to do. Maybe if I just brought it up to break even, the market would just keep going higher. So again, there is some judgment in using all this stuff, but there also is specific rules, and you can choose whichever way to trade it. If you're getting a profit out of the market, it's never the wrong thing to do. Even if the market were to keep going, there's always another trade. So in this trade, this is live cattle. This is August live cattle. We came down here. There's not a lot of real good examples on here, but you can see that the arrows are pretty much, they nail the tops and the bottoms. Sometimes there's a couple extra arrows. That would be where you might have to stop and reverse a couple times if you were following this system. But right here at this low, when this low came in, when it did these 3 bars down like this, and it had this reversal day and it put in that up arrow, that would be a good try to go along even for just a minor up move. I mean, that's just kind of a classic low there. Again, it might be a little riskier trade than than following our trend system. But some people want to trade a lot more than others, and if you're willing to put on the risk and you're willing to go for some short-term trades, like if you would have just waited for this bar's high to get taken out and it would have made this big update and you just got out, that I'm sure that would have been a nice profit. So everybody's got their own. Now here's another example of, okay, um, when gold was choppy here, this is August gold. Gold is just back and forth here. That wouldn't have been, if you would be taking all these trades up and down here, you'd just get slaughtered. But if you would have said to yourself, the trend's down, I'm only taking sell signals. Look at what that would have done to this market here. You would have taken this sell signal, that would have been a good entry point to get short. You would have taken this sell signal, that would have got stopped out, so that would have been a loser, and that's okay. That's just part of the system. You would have taken this sell signal, and that never got stopped out. That trade would have taken you all the way down to the bottom if you would have found a way to held it. This down triangle would have taken, again, if you put the stop at the last pivot high, that never got taken out, so that down arrow would have been a good trade. This down arrow would have been a good trade, because what happens is you're getting all these sell signals and the market's in a downtrend, so it's making lower highs all the way down, so the last pivot high never gets taken out. This would have been a good sell signal. So you can see that even in a choppy sideways mess like this, where if a person was saying, okay, I'm taking all breaks of 3 bars highs, I'm going long and short, well, long and short you would have got killed. But if you would have just said, this market's in a downtrend, I'm taking all 3 bar sells, you would have done really well with it, and it would have been a good way to enter the market. And then down here it gets pretty choppy again, but this would have actually been a good example of our 1 2 3 trade. It made the first move up above the bands, and then it made the move down, and then we would have went long here. And then what I always do in my trades is I go with the last pivot low. If you would have put your stop under this pivot low, you would have got stopped out. But like for me, I would have went down here in the premium newsletter and you'd still be in that trade. And now it kind of looks like gold's kind of making a triangle pattern here. Let me move that out a bit. Okay, it looks like gold's making a triangle here. See how this high and this low and this high and this low and this high, they're all contracting. Now, I mean, obviously, what would be the first thing you would think if you were looking for 3 bar breaks and you were bullish gold? This is on a sell signal, so the next 3 bar break of a high, which puts in a green up triangle, would be a great buy signal, would be a great try to go long. These are low risk entry points in the market, and you can combine them with the classic chart patterns and they work like a charm. They really do. Again, I like the trend system, but this is, you could just make this a system and just totally forget about the trend system. It all comes down to what you like better, or you could use both. So I'm going to wrap up this one and then I'll start another video here on this. But these 3 bar breaks, the high and lows, I really think there is a lot to this, and I think this is really something that can really get you some low risk entry points in the market. And that's one good thing about it, especially if you're a newer trader. Say if you buy gold's kind of a hard example because that's an expensive market, but say you were trading micro gold, or say if you were using the gold chart to trade the gold ETF, GLD as the gold ETF, and say if you were just going to take a buy on this 3 bar high and put the stop down here, that's a very low risk. That's a good way to learn how to trade. And like say if you were trading GLD, you could just maybe buy 10 shares just to learn how to trade. You don't have to be going for big profits. You can just be doing this stuff to be practicing, because this is one thing that, trust me, practice makes perfect. Everybody, because a lot of traders will start trading and they'll think, I'm never going to get this, and you will get this if you try hard enough and if you practice. And I think some of the stuff I'm giving you is really going to go a long ways towards putting you on the right track. And practice makes perfect in trading like nothing else. So don't feel like you can't do it if you have a little rocky start, because it's not easy. Like they say, it's not easy or everybody would be doing it. So it does take some practice, and taking these little 3 bar breaks on classic patterns and different things like that, and just take an ETF and just buy 10 shares of it, and don't even worry about if you're going to make a profit on it or not. Just if it, and then if you're only trading 10 shares, you might, if you do lose, you might lose 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. If you make a profit, you might only make 50 bucks, but at least you're learning how to trade, so that's a big thing there. So I'm going to wrap this video up, and then I'm going to do another one on the 3-bar breaks.